Working in a hospital emergency room, you hear a lot about the drug world. More importantly, you see a lot of the effects the drug world has on an actual human being. According to the National Institute of Drug Abuse, every day more than 115 people in the United States die after overdosing on opioids. The misuse of addiction to opioids, including prescription pain relievers, heroin, and synthetic opioids such as fentanyl, is a serious national crisis that affects public health as well as social and economic welfare. The opioid epidemic has been going on since the late 1990s after pharmaceutical companies reassured the medical community that patients would not become addicted to opioids, causing healthcare providers to prescribe these medications at a greater rate. According to HHS, 11.5 million people misuse prescription opioids. 42,249 people died from overdose, and 17,087 of those deaths were from prescribed opioids. Deaths are not the only problem the opioid epidemic has. Opioids cause major mood changes in the individuals who use and or abuse them. These individuals become rowdy and aggressive. On page 330, the text talks about how a remarkable amount of crime is committed by impulsive individuals, frequently young males who are frequently drunk or high on drugs, and who are often in packs of similar, mindless young men. This is true. People who are on opioid drugs can be very aggressive and commit ruthless crimes. These drugs can also cause many individuals to become depressed. On page 456, people who are depressed tend to think in negative terms, meaning they view life through dark glasses of self-esteem. These individuals seem to believe the only way to help themselves is to either take the opioid to suppress pain or overdose on the opioid for potential suicide attempt instead of seeking help. On page 462, it states that at least half of these deaths in the industrialized world are linked with behavior of consuming alcohol and drugs. The issue has gotten so out of hand that in an emergency room, in order to prescribe an opioid, we have to pull up a system known as the Florida E-Force program, and we have to search the patient's name in the database and see if they have been prescribed an opioid recently. If they have, providers in the emergency room are legally not allowed to prescribe opioids to that patient. This is covered under the House Bill 21. The House Bill 21 states controlled substances requiring certain boards to require certain registered practitioners to complete a specified board-approved continuing education course to obtain authorization to prescribe controlled substances as part of BNEO license renewal and before a specific date, requiring the applicable boards to adopt rules establishing certain guidelines for prescribing controlled substances for acute pain, providing requirements for pharmacists for the dispensing of controlled substances to persons not known to them, authorizing a pharmacist to dispense controlled substances upon receipt of an electronic prescription if certain conditions are met, etc. Now, this is all recent since the effective start date was July 1st, 2018. I feel as this is an amazing start to help end the opioid epidemic, but I feel as if we should help the individuals who have behavioral issues and get them to see therapists without having to Baker Act them. It is all about breaking a vicious cycle, page 468. It may take many, many years, but will be better for our future as a society.